Hello, welcome back to another Flying Model Rockets build or episode. This particular one is the Estes Flutterby. Okay. What is interesting is this originally was a Century model rocket from back in the 1970s. In particular, the first time I saw it, and first time I see references to it, is in a 1972 catalog of Century model rockets. And at that time, cost was $1.35. Can you imagine that? $1.35. According to the current Estes catalog, or the listing I see, its retail price is listed as $14.29. Huge price difference from 1972 to now, but that's been a few years. So anyhow, what you do is when you get this, get a number of components. Of course, the package with its little display. Important thing, the instructions. Get a packet of various components, launch lug, engine lock, little decals, some putty, tube, and two tubes, body tubes, a nose cone, the nose cone shot cord mount, and fins. Back in the old days, you had to cut these out by hand. This particular case, it is laser etched, so it's easier to cut. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to lightly sand, and I apologize, the balsa, and these are balsa fins. And you try not to knock the pattern off of it. And then you need to cut the fins out. Of course, it's good to have a razor knife. And then you take the parts out of the balsa. I like to keep the balsa because you never know when you need stirring sticks, or there's even room for me to cut out extra parts in here if I need it. So I usually hold on to the extra balsa. I think that's sometimes silly, but try to reduce, reuse, and recycle. All right. Then you have your upper body fins and lower body fins. These are the uppers. Hopefully you can see that. And these are the lower. And these are the I guess decorative edges or whatever. Alright, now what you do need to do is you do need to sand these things. And since these edges are the same at this point, alright, then once you've gotten those sanded, it's next to, I guess, sand these. I'll move these out of the way. It's the little fin edges. And that's as far as I'm going to go right now. I can sand the rest later. Alright, next step is to glue those pieces on, and it says to do it according to these little fin lines. Now, you have them on one side and you don't have them on the other. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue. And I like to use wood glue myself. Although white glue is perfectly fine. And I center it between those two lines and between the top and the bottom. Alright. We now have those. We need to set them aside to dry. And I'm going to have to put these on the opposite side, which I don't believe they show that in the instructions, but or else these are extras. But I believe you're supposed to put them on both sides. We'll find out. It shows them on both sides. So anyhow, I'm going to let that dry, let it flaze, and then put these on the other side. And then we can go ahead and do some more. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and do some other steps, which it talks about. It says that we need to cut 3 equal pieces of this putty. I'll lighten this so you can see. Three equal pieces of this putty. It says on a flat piece, roll each piece into a thin, round leave like that. You do have to warm it up with your hands a little bit. You might want to play with it before you do it, or mush it around a little. Alright. It says insert each section into the nose cone and press it in with a pencil or launch rod or something. And so what they want you to do is get it into the tip of the nose cone. Okay, so I'm going to put a piece down in there. In this case, I'm going to use my X-Acto knife. And I pushed it down into the tip. Hopefully you can see it down in there. And it says each one, so I'm going to do the others. Right. There's the second one. This adds weight to the nose cone, which helps increase its balance and flight characteristics. And the third one's done. At this point in time, I can proceed to use the model cement and glue this to there. And we will have that assembly done for now, and then next step will be come back and do the rest of the model. And again, when I assemble, I like to push it in, twist it, double check to make sure I've got all the way around, and I might want to add some extra glue to this one. I don't think I have enough. There it goes. Now I can let that dry. I shall return with more. I'm back. The next step I'm going to do is do the fin alignment sheets, which are over here in the instructions, and also do the gluing of the engine mount assembly. You can cut this out with scissors. You can cut it out with the razor knife. And I actually am cutting this outside where it marks fin. Okay. One is marked upper and lower. The lower is a smaller tube, and the upper is the larger tube. Okay, upper, lower, and again, upper and lower. So I'm going to place the lower on the lower and overlap on the overlap area right there. Try to make it as straight as possible. You could tape this in place. And then it has two spots for me to mark for the fin. I'm going to use an ink pen so you can see it. Mark along there and along here without slipping it. I'm going to mark fin there, and then it has an EH. So I'm going to mark the EH. And just as I slip it off, I'm going to actually mark on that EH. So I know that's the EH, and I'm going to mark fin, or F, on the fin lines. That way I can't make a mistake. Now the next part is to draw a straight line. I just pull the sheet over the edge. It slipped. Again, you can do it in a doorway or door frame. Okay, so I slipped on this, but there's my EH, there's my F for fan, and there's my other fan. I'll do that to the upper body tab as well. And holding it tight. Not letting it slip. Again, you can do this in pencil. I'm doing it in pen. And since both of these are fan, I do not need to mark any difference on them. So, alright, so the fans. I believe I do need to extend these as well, because I bet you my fins attach much farther. Alright. So we have those. And now we do the engine mount, which should go onto this tube. And it says you need to mark up (1" and 2.5 inches from what you consider the bottom. So I will place it here. Mark my 1" and 2.5 inches. Okay, 1" and 2.5 inches. Next, and that's along the engine holder line. Next, I will cut a little slit about 1/8 of an inch right here at the top of this, along that little line. It's a little difficult, but I've got it. You have to go back on it. Okay. That will then hold this piece, and I'm going to slip it in there ahead of time because it helps open that up and widen it so it fits in there well. As you see, it fits right along the line there. Now I need to slide this assembly, or this piece, down along here like this to that 1" mark, but I'll need to glue it. So I'll apply some glue. In this case, again, I like to use my famous wood glue right around the body. Above that 1-inch mark. And I'm going to slide this on, covering that. Right down to that. And again, sometimes you go too far. Right to that 1-inch line, and then I'm going to clean up this glue. Try not to put too much glue on, and I may have done that, but it still will function. So that is not the complete motor mount, because we now have to add this little ring. And we add it right here to the top, just on top of that little metal piece. So it'll block the engine from flying up into the rocket body. So again, I'm going to add some glue to it. In fact, I think I have a little bit left over here. Put it on the inside, or I can put it on the ring. In this case, I'm going to put it on the ring. Usually I put it on the inside, but and I can just press that down and flatten it. We can set aside to dry. At this point in time, we've got our engine mount. Which is this, which is actually be the lower body. We have our nose cone completed, and we have our fins, which we're waiting to dry. And I will be back later after all these dry. Thank you. To help you out to see how to put these on, there's two things you can do. One is to take a ruler, place it up against here, and you could actually create a piece that goes all the way around, and you can mark it right here at that edge of the ruler, and right here at this edge of the ruler, and then you could draw the straight line across to finish filling out where that piece would go. And I shall do it on this one right there. That way you can line it up with this side, and if you look down there, you'll see that these two lines, that one's a little bit off, but I can fix that. Gotta be careful about that being off. Anyhow, you get some glue on here like you did before. Line it up on this side, and line it up down here at the end. In this case, I'm going to have to adjust it a little bit. And then if you sight the edge with the other side, that will help you. And then you want to compare them on this side to see if you need to scoot it one direction or another, and I need to scoot mine down. And then recheck your alignment. Now, you can do this as well without drawing that line. You take your I have a flyer or something in here, and you line it up with the edge of the other one, sight down the board, press and hold it in place, look along the side to see if you need to adjust it up or down, then double check your alignment. Sorry, I'm not doing that in the camera. Check and see if it matches side to side this way, and then check down and down and press into place, and that's a very good way to put the extra fin on. So this is kind of what it needs to look like. Hopefully you can see that. And fins become, so there you are. Let those dry and I'll be back. The next step in the assembly is to now add the fins, since they've dried, to the body tubes. And I enjoy this kit because it's quite unique. But we've already marked our fin patterns here, or fin lines. And I'm going to glue the fins to the body. Again, I like using wood glue instead of white glue, just my preference. And I'm going to start with the inner body tube. And when I do it, I've told you before in previous ones that I actually like to do it to the side of the line. You can't see it right here, but I like to do it to the side of the line. That way I can see where the line is and do this. This is also supposed to have enough room that this slides over that, and that there's room for the fin. And it looks to me like that's going to work in both cases. It's always good to double check things. If it's a little tight, we can sand it later, but that's the idea. So I'm now going to go ahead and apply glue to the fins. And we don't do it the entire distance. We leave this piece right here alone, this section here. We do this little small section, and I do add some to this little tab right here. The reason why, because it fits up against this and it can be glued to that. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm not gluing this to the green piece. It does not glue there, and it does not glue above. So no glue here, just glue from here down. You can see that. Glue from here down, no glue here. And then you need to check your fin alignment guide to make sure that you're straight across on your fins. At this point in time, I'm in a little bit of trouble, but I can do it this way. And now, since I have the little line this side, I need it on the other side the same way. You'll just have to remember that. Then I also want to make sure my fins are straight with the body tube. At this point in time, since I'm using the lower tube as my support, it is best for me just to let this sit and dry. Which, as you can see, that's what I'm doing here. Which is what I'm going to do, but usually when I have kits, I usually have spare body tubes and stuff to help hold the components like this up, so I can go ahead and work on this other body tube while I'm letting this thing dry. But in this particular case, I'm just going to have to let the whole thing dry, and I'll be back. Thank you. Well, this is now dried, and now it's time for, and you see that slides easily. It's lined up pretty good. Now it's time for me to put the fins on this one, and the fins line up actually at the bottom, like if you can see where this thing jets off this way. This one goes at the bottom of the tube. You know, either side can be the bottom. And put them on both sides. So now it's time for me to do that. And it is a little hard to see where that transition is. So you're just going to have to do it the best you can. Getting out of camera again, I know. Well, apparently, we get some more glue. Try this again. And this is a little difficult to hold, so if you have a fin alignment guide, it would be very helpful. Okay, I guess I'm not out of camera there. Now we proceed to let that dry. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and double check this, and it looks really good. I'm going to add some fillets or fillets along here to help strengthen, along here and here, to help strengthen that joint, because this could be a little weak, and so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. You can use your finger, knife, whatever. And I do want to strengthen this area right here where these connect to this. That will help out too. Alright, there is the bottom assembly. Here's the top assembly. And we'll have one more step where we glue the nose cone into the top. But again, what I'm going to do is add the fillets when this thing dries. Add the fillets to here on the fins to give it additional strength. Excuse the noise in the background, that's my laundry. But the last step now is to glue the launch lug on. They recommend sanding. It does help. And you put it along one of the fins. And I've got too much glue here, but that's all right. Take the extra off. Just like that. There it is. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the fillets even along the launch lug all the way around, and then it'll be ready for the next step. And now the last step in regards to this kit is to attach the nose cone to this. I've already gone ahead and filleted the fins, and again you can sand the fins again and paint them, whatever. But next step, last step, is to go ahead and glue the nose cone to the body. And I put the glue on the inside. Get plenty of glue. put some glue inside. And I'm going to actually add some glue to this part of the nose cone. That's it. Now once this dries, to launch this, either way you want to do it, you can put the engine in here and then slide this into the body like that, or you can slide it into the body and then put the engine in. And it is now ready to fly, and its recovery is very simple. When the ejection charge goes out, this pops out, this falls down, and this falls down. And that's pretty well all there is to it. No need for a parachute. Tumble recovery. And I'm actually glad that they brought this one back. I wanted to assemble it when I was much younger. Never did get one. And it's been a pleasure to put together. And I hope you enjoyed it. I got a couple more kits left. Barring whatever happens, I'm going to see if I can get those done, and maybe if I'm lucky and future works out well, I can return back with more model rocket builds. Thank you. Bye.